So we'll take a roll call.
Manitowoc,
Here.
Valders, Michigan, Keel, Two Rivers,
Yep.
Branch,
Yep.
Silver Creek, Francis Creek,
Yep.
St. MCEMS, Two Creeks, Cleveland, Collins, Newton,
Yep.
Kellnersville, and Reedsville. We do not have a quorum.
All right, now we'll go to the secretary's report.
It is up here. Would you like it read? Otherwise, this
Unless
is
somebody
this
makes
is
the
where
motion.
Todd likes to make a motion and help me out.
I'll make a motion to accept. Second.
Motion's been made to accept the secretary's report as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Treasurer's report. Lori is not able to be with us tonight, but she did submit a report.
Hello? I didn't want to talk over her. She popped on or something. Checking is $3184.96 and savings is $6,014.36.
And she also said that all dues have been paid, except for Valdez, which we talked about the last meeting, that they no longer want to belong. All right, old business, committee reports. I was hoping that Rhonda was going to be on here.
I'm sorry. For Real Call Sheriff's Department is here.
Okay.
Is that who's over the top?
Yes, because he's a really nice guy.
It was very relaxed.
Oh, yeah.
No working tonight?
No, that's tomorrow.
Okay.
See you tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's okay.
So who approved the treasurers?
Okay.
Okay. I didn't miss it, sorry. I
No, you
goofed
didn't.
you. I
Okay,
goofed you.
yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
did. All right. Motion to accept the treasurer's report as reported.
I do.
Second? No? Everybody in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried there. All right, committee reports. We have Joint Dispatch Center, and the big thing about that was the full-scale exercise, which is being postponed. They are actually they were going to do two different areas, and now they felt that was too much to do all at one time. So they're going to split it up, and we're going to be doing a tabletop, scheduling sometime in January. So we'll see and that, I believe that's from Manitowoc, City of Manitowoc, right? And then Cleveland was also, Rhonda was going to get a hold of them to see they were going to have some kind of a bus accident on the railroad tracks down there. So she's going to check that out with her. One of the big things was the EM resource. So we're getting training on that.
Who's were the committee?
The committee, yeah. At first, yes.
Yeah.
And then it'll be further out too. I mean, more people will get involved once it gets going. So, anything else that you can think on that, Bill?
Taking EM resource one step a little bit farther is the training is actually going to be on EM track, which is part of EM resource. Catherine Johnson from the state, who's in charge of the program and rolling it out, will be doing the training, and that's forthcoming. But the first thing that we're working on is just updating the mass casualty plan so everybody gets on the same page even before we do the tabletop and then before we do the full-scale exercise.
All right. Metro County Sheriff's Department, anything?
We have nothing this week. This month.
Protocols, anything,
I have
Dr.
a
Si-
quick
oh,
question for Mike. There's been 2 that I know of, accidents again where the officers were saying no injuries. Like the last one we went through, the accident actually happened an hour before.
Like the one that was on with you, you're talking?
Yeah, that was interesting. I guess the only thing that we could say is don't hesitate, especially with elderly people or anytime, even if you guys just. I couldn't figure out the accident, the vehicles had already been told. I'm talking to the gentleman, he's in the van, I'm looking for the injury. The vehicle's beautiful. How did they have this kind of trauma? It went past me on a flatbed. I'm like, oh! But yeah, don't hesitate.
Yeah, I'll make sure that's on.
protocols, any updates, Dr. Sarah?
No updates. Good BLS remains good BLS, and so keep doing what you're doing. I'm delusionally optimistic that on maternity leave, maybe the baby will sleep well enough for me to renew the documents. But by and large, I wouldn't even, whenever that happens, anticipate any, drastic changes in the excellent care everyone's already doing.
Can you make sure that you reach out to Dr. Suzanne Martins and your other colleagues for the county so that we're just sharing the information and knowledge?
Absolutely.
We kind of told Dr. Martins to call you too and said she's very approachable, so we should still work together.
Sure thing.
All right, disaster training we kind of went through already. RTF, Bill.
So we've had about 20 trainings throughout the county this year so far. We've got 2 left. August 14th at 6 o'clock at the Town of Two Rivers Fire Station is the next training. And then the last training prior to the drill is August 19th at Cleveland Fire Department. We're trying to encourage at least 2 or 3 members from each unit attend and then pass that knowledge on.
6 o'clock?
It can happen
6 also.
any, what?
6 o'clock?
Yep.
First one's at 6, the second one's at 6:30. This type of an incident can happen anywhere in the county, and you and your team or your unit really needs to know how it's going to fall out. It is truly a law enforcement incident, and we'll go through that in the training, but we'll also come out if your group wants us to. We can do training after our main drill. If you feel like you need it, contact me. The main drill is Friday, September 13th. Check-in is here at City Hall from 4:30 to 5:30. Safety briefing at 5:30. And the drill will happen shortly thereafter, right around 6 o'clock. And we hope to have everybody out of here by 7:30, except for law enforcement. They'll be playing a little bit longer. Mark will send out again, there is a jot form sign up. Please, right now, I don't have any EMS people other than the City of Manitowoc and City of Two Rivers signed up for EMS. We truly need fire and EMS. Anytime there is an active shooter, it takes a lot of people. So please sign up. More information to come, and if you've got any questions, never hesitate to call me.
Bill, if they ask, I haven't had the training yet or haven't gone to a thing, can I still participate? What would you like us to say?
The answer to that is yes. We'll put you in with a group that's had the training, so it won't be all new people in one group. we prefer you to have the training, and there is still some of the training online, I think, on your EMS site,
Mhm.
correct?
Yep. All right. Education and training, we kind of just went through all of that. Medical directors, anything on that front, Dr. Sarah?
Business as usual from that front, as far as I'm aware, from at least the daycare medical directors, Dr. Painter and Dr. Miller. I haven't heard any changes either.
Very good, thank you. Radio, haven't heard anything about any radio problems or anything other than the regular usuals. Mavis, they're updating their app. Probably saw it, looked at it. It's a little bit different. It's not all active yet. Don't know when they're going to actually roll it completely out, but if anything comes through there, I'll be sending that out. RTAC,
Who's the official Mavis contact right now?
Chris Dallas.
Is it Chris yet?
yep.
Okay.
RTAC,
You can get on.
We just finished our fiscal year. We'll be starting a new fiscal year. With funding, we're going to have roughly about $20,000 that we're going to put into trauma. Part of that is we're currently looking at giving De Pere, is it $1,900, Deb?
Something like that.
Something like $1,900 to help with their bike rodeo, where they give helmets to people that can't afford them after they've been trained and properly fitted. It looks like that vote's going to go through from what I've seen on the webpage. Yeah.
yeah.
And if you're looking for some type of trauma funding, it's a great source. Contact Mark, Debbie, or myself, and or you can go right to their webpage. There's a funding request form on that. We recently helped the Sheriff's Department with getting some Stop the Bleed supplies.
I think the form is pretty self-explanatory. They want a little bit of buy-in from your agency. Like, they're not just going to pay for everything. You need to put something towards it. But I really like the fact that people from Manitowoc County are using this kind of funding, because for years it was there and we were missing out on it. So it's pretty easy.
I'd say last year we probably received over $10,000 worth of funding in Manitowoc County itself.
I think Manitowoc received more than Brown County, which is not going to be in the minutes, but awesome. So it's there for you, but it should be trauma related in some relationship.
What about the HERC?
Well, it's safe to say that the HERC and the RTAC are now related. The HERC is like the big brother, because if I'm saying this right, the state of Wisconsin and the federal government have very specific rules for how they give money to agencies. So the HERC is kind of like your dad, and he has the checkbook, and he decides which of the different entities underneath get what. So we're promised $20,000 for the RTAC. That'll be our budget, and then the HERC will have their own money.
Roughly $230,000.
And that can be for a lot of different things.
Each year, OPEC puts together objectives to use that money for. So contact us and we'll see if whatever you're looking to get money for, if we can meet one of their objectives.
But usually things like decon, education is a big thing. Just, if you can use it, think outside the box, and a lot of times we can make HERC money work for it.
ballistic gear. We've used it for riot control gear. It's currently being looked at by the city of Manitowoc for the thing that's happening up in Brown County, the draft.
All right, LTC. I haven't got any kind of updates. The last update was their schedule, and that was all sent out.
Ryan sent me a text that said, sorry, I've been distracted. He's going to have one of his other instructors kind of fill in until he's done with his dissertation. And I want to say that's Rob. So he's going to have Rob kind of reach out and make sure that there's something, if there's something that LTC can do, it will definitely help us, and he's going to try and have a better presence. But he said, we are always here. If you guys need anything, just reach out.
All right, updates on several documents. Rhonda did update the Manitowoc County EMS Association Mutual Aid Pack. However, that just is getting recently changed because they're going away from Appleton and getting Sheboygan.
They're going to keep Appleton for hazmat, but Sheboygan is going to be the responder for the nuclear part of it. That's what she's working on right now.
Oh, so this is okay the way it's written then, for hazmat.
That's not how we heard.
I thought that Appleton was gonna be bye-bye. No, okay, I'll have to double check with her. Cause I have those out for all the signatures and, which I haven't received anything back yet, so. All right, then we'll go, I have bylaws on the agenda here because there was talk last meeting about changing the bylaws with the voting and the vice president position instead of taking over for the president in 2 years just to elect the vice president separately or whatever. But I have not heard anything beyond that. So we'll see what in the future what that's going to bring. Emergency respond guidebooks. Pick those up from Rhonda. They're for whoever wants them and needs them. So if you need some, just grab some.
2024. High surprise.
Brand new ones. And any other old business that we didn't cover? I think we got everything handled with that. New business was vice president of the elections. Still didn't. What?
I have something too.
Oh, okay. Didn't get any type of nominations. I don't know what we're going to do with this. Somebody's going to have to jump in there fairly soon. Other than that, if anybody's got any ideas or whatever, I guess a lot of people were waiting to see how the bylaws are going to be rewritten or whatever, so I guess we'll just have to wait a little more time. Go ahead, Bill.
So I met with Dr. Painter and also talked with Dr. Sarah. When the ambulances are transporting a patient to the local hospitals that weighs over 250 pounds and is not able to step off of the ambulance cot, we'd like you to give their weight when you're giving the report. And there's a couple reasons for it. One, it'll allow both hospitals to prepare for a hover mat to be placed on the cot prior to EMS getting there. It'll also help with a more rapid transport so the ambulance isn't sitting there waiting for the staff to go get a hover mat. And then it'll also help the hospital staff or the ambulance staff if they come back and do a transport in moving those patients. Less injury, less problems to the back. We're trying to help everybody out there. So when you've got a patient that weighs more than 250 pounds and is not able to step off the cot and step onto a bed at the hospital, try to give the weight as close as you can. You can ask the patient in your ambulance report so the hospitals can be prepared for that.
And I think all of the ambulance services, I'm not sure about Michigan, but I know Manitowoc, Valders, and Two Rivers all have 500 and 600 pound frequent EMS users. Well, it gets to be a big thing. I mean, it makes a difference for you. Do you guys still have the bariatric cot or no? No.
No.
But we don't want anybody to get hurt.
No.
And that also will allow the hospital staff to have extra people ready to help, so you're not injuring EMS or hospital staff.
All right, does anybody have anything else for
Did
this?
anybody get anything on the future state or vision of where you want this group to be in 5 years, 10 years? There was some information that we got, suggestions to meet with, one was to meet with county fire, one was to meet with the ambulance meeting that happens outside of this group. Another suggestion was to get rid of the ambulance meeting and put it back into the association, either before or after or with. Those were the only three that I got. Did you get any other ones? Did you guys get anything else? Have any other visions?
What's the ambulance association?
The EMS association versus the ambulance meeting that happens with Valders and Manitowoc County. It used to be the radio meeting, but it's taken on a different life. It's taken on a life of that's where the real business happens. So that was one suggestion.
Do you know when they supposedly meet? Or how often they meet?
That's every other month.
But that's not ever meant to be in a whole, it's supposed to have a representative of fire, EMS, law enforcement, and emergency management to more discuss communication channels.
That's the advisory committee, right?
Advisory and then EMS, yeah, advisory and radio. The radio pretty much is, I don't know if you're doing two separate anymore.
Right now, they light it up now with, there's a joint dispatch meeting, and then immediately following is the EMS committee meeting. The joint dispatch is at 9 o'clock, the EMS committee is at 10 o'clock.
Now okay, so, yes, so the EMS committee is the transporting ambulances in Manitowoc County.
Correct.
Yes, okay. Now I know what you're talking about, sorry.
And what is your attendance there? Do you get good representation from everyone?
It's very small, so it's like I have one of our battalion chiefs attend. We have
Does Keel come up? Do they
Keel
call
does.
in?
Keel has
Keel does,
representative.
Two
calls
Rivers
in.
does.
Two Rivers does. Mishicot, I haven't been here in a while now, so I'd have to check with my
Christie's
battalion.
Yeah, or she's online, because it's Zoomed.
Yes, I wouldn't say it's not really an official group, if that's what you're looking for, as far as I know.
It's not open to the public, open to the county.
Right.
It's a smaller,
So,
right. probably been going about a year and a half, 2 years.
Right to me, yeah.
But with that, then we don't see any of those guys except for you and sometimes whoever at the association meeting. So good or bad, however you want to, it could be pros and cons both ways. But we just have to figure out where we're going.
I just keep on defaulting back, and I think every first responder group is associated with the fire group, and I don't mean to make it sound this way, but I've said this numerous times before, that we really need to start speaking with the fire side of things and really making sure we have one voice. I think that's going to help for everything. I think that's why we look at some of this fragmentation, and clearly that the right message isn't getting out all the time because it is so fragmented. The last thing you want to do is be answering to another voice when, we're identifying ourselves as Boone EMS, Boone Fire, Manitowoc EMS, Manitowoc Fire, Two Rivers Rescue, whatever it is. I just think at some point in time it becomes white noise for the elected and how they actually view any of our associations, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, I can see the same thing for the firefighters. I'm not a big fan that you have the firefighters dictating policy for me as a fire chief. I mean, it's just not the EMS association right now. I think there's a lot of growth that needs to happen here in the county, and I think that discussion needs to come from both sides once again, and not just one or the other. Sort of like law enforcement has a very good, I'm going to screw it up, I think it's the law leader, how do they?
Law Exec Committee.
Law Exec Committee, thank you. But I think that's just a good example of how the message starts at the top and is disseminated just as it should be to, brand new officer that's out on the street. So I think it's a good model they have, but we continue that. That's why I sent a battalion chief now to this other EMS meeting, because I don't need to have my hat in so many different meetings, nor do I need my other command staff in it. That'd be much nicer if we had one voice, one whatever, that we could get a lot of this information. Because an example is the EMS mutual aid pack. I don't know why we still have that when we have Mavis out there. I would understand if you're a private EMS, maybe Bill, you could speak better to this, but I don't know if that's actually necessary, because I think that's been brought up in the state statute with Mavis that you can have private companies be a part of that. So it'd save you a lot of headache trying to put this together, updating it, grabbing signatures, and all those other big things. But discussion for another day, and I know Deb, that's what she's trying to get the discussion going. But I'll just give you the honest 2 cents worth here, and I just think there's others within the county that need to kind of, I don't want to say step up, but voice their opinion and really try to come together as one to really help that out. And I think the Law Enforcement Executive Council is a good example of how that can work, but we have to change at some point in time. If we don't, it's going to only get worse.
Yeah.
So
corporate counsel, I think, is the one that said that we couldn't get rid of the mutual aid and just use the Mavis. And I don't know why it's just...
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's just where we challenge them. That's where, because, I have a city attorney that I can use whenever. So if I knew everybody else was on board with it, I guarantee our city attorney would be happy to go toe-to-toe with the county legal counsel and figure that out. It's just one of those things, and we're always butting heads with each other sometimes. So
thank you for your input. Other than that,
I do have a thing from Joni from Silver Creek. She said she would like to offer a class called QPR to EMS in Manitowoc County, and actually it could be EMS and fire if you want to put it that way. It's a suicide prevention. It's a nationwide thing. Her spiel here, I'm just gonna, statistics show EMS personnel are twice as likely interesting. Statistics show EMS personnel are twice as high. There's a high rate of suicide in fire and EMS, I think is what she's trying to say there. It's a 1-hour class. She's a trainer. Class size is limited to 35, would definitely do more than one class if needed. NAMI, which is National Alliance of Mental Illness, is covering any cost of materials, and there is a booklet that comes with it. It essentially teaches you a little bit about suicide awareness, suicide prevention. Well, she repeats herself again. It's not a bad class. I took it probably 10 years ago. It's short. It teaches people to listen to key triggers.
I think here's your opportunity to try to bring groups together that have something where you want to be the hospitality donators of it, and it's free training, but what better way to try to get EMS and fire at the same table, realizing that we really are one and the same, maybe, for those that don't see that, but just an idea.
I think Bill started it with the active shooter. I think it's starting to come together much better with the free agencies, because that's my opinion. I mean, when I started, we were all very siloed and separate, and I think it's fine. So tell Joni we're interested, put something together sometime, and.
Well, if there's only 35 per group.
But she said she'd do.
Yeah. And I saw that thing about this, so I'm bringing that to our branch to do it as a combination for our fire and EMS for one of our trainings.
I'd just like to echo what Chief Blazer had said, that maybe it'd be a good idea for the executive board of fire and the executive board of EMS to get together. Because to get the two associations together is just going to be bickering back and forth. I think you guys might be able to solve something. And he is also correct that there is a private ambulance contract with Mavis that is available.
So we
I got
can put
one
the
last thing
documents together.
Add, and I'll leave the bad news for the end. I am a representative of the Law Exec Board since I'm the RTF coordinator. Motorola came to our meeting last week and said that the APX line of portables is no longer going to be serviceable. So as they break, you cannot send them in for repair, and you should start budgeting for newer radios whenever you feel that those are going to be obsolete for you, because they're now obsolete for Motorola as of July 1st.
What was it?
APX
Suppose that's
700.
all branches.
No, you guys have some of them. It would be the dual bands.
But this would be another example of bringing both sides together, so for the Leotex money goes to fix the county dome and talk about communication issues.
Right.
I'm gonna stop.
But that 0.5% sales tax, the other people pay for our.
Yeah.
We won't say that you were smiling very long.
It's in the minutes, man. It's in the minutes, yeah.
All right, if there's nothing else, the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 25th at 7 p.m. at Michigan Ambulance. So if there's
Motion to adjourn.
seconded,
Come on.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Damn it, you guys!